I don't know about you, but I'm pumped for my next holiday. I cannot wait to go away. How much would you pay for a place like this? Or staying a week in a place like this? How about this? What if I told you I don't pay a penny to stay places like this? Well, that wouldn't actually be quite true. But wait until you find out how much I do actually pay. Shemai guys, my name's Dav Morse. I'm here to educate and inspire you to make the most of your money, to live generously and impact the world beyond just yourself. Now, I absolutely love going on holiday, but what I do not love is paying to go on holiday. So I've got a go away for basically free. I'm going to get to the objections later on, but let's start with seeing what's so great about home exchange. In his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, I haven't got an affiliate link. Not big enough yet. Tim Ferriss does a great job of getting you to decide or to think about what it is you actually want in life. Do you really want to have a house in the south of France where you can only go to the same place every year? You'll only be able to visit for a few weeks a year, and the rest of the time it's just going to be weathering and costing you money. Or would you be better off hiring a place as and when you need it? If you own a place abroad and you've got a foreign mortgage on it, you might be paying £600 a month for the mortgage, a total of £7,200 for the year. If you're only there for 2 weeks, that is in fact £3,600 per week for accommodation on holiday. That's way more than double the cost of renting a place like this for £1,400 a week. You also get stuck going to the same place every year. You never get the opportunity to try coffee in a new place or a new restaurant in a different place. Even if you think you want a second property, the reality is that the cost of that is often prohibitive unless you're going to really use it really often and you really love the place and you don't want to go anywhere else. Home exchanging takes this to the next level. If you rent your place and not own it, then don't worry, I've got your back. Wait until the end of the video and I'll give you some top tips of what you can do to make this happen, even if you don't own your own place. When I first came across home exchange, it was like another red pill moment. When I realised I could stay anywhere in the world for free and all I had to do was let somebody else look after my house while I'm on holiday, I was like, I am never paying for accommodation again. I did my first home exchange when I was just 4 years old. I remember it well. I went to South Carolina. Don't remember it that well. I didn't really have much say in the matter as a 4-year-old, but all I know is that Disneyland and a hot tub was a win-win-win. Certainly an upgrade on wet and windy Pembrokeshire. Before the internet, things weren't quite as easy as they are today. My parents had some contact through the church and they basically just swapped houses and swapped jobs. My dad was the preacher at one church and he went out and spent a month, I think, preaching in the church in America, and then the preacher from America, man, tough times for him, came over to wet, damp Pembrokeshire for a month and preached to 30 people. I can't say that that was my red pill moment, but fast forward 25 years and the concept is not a foreign one to me. I think the idea of home exchange is a great idea. So let's get into some of the pros of home exchange. There are a few different websites out there which offer home exchanging in some form. I've used the Guardian Home Exchange website and I've used a website called homeexchange.com. Now with homeexchange.com, all you do is you pay €130 and that's it for the entire year. Now for €130 a year, you can go on holiday an unlimited amount of nights. Well, actually, obviously there's a limit of 365 nights in a year, or 366 in a leap year. You're not tied to going back to the same place year after year. You're not tied to going certain weeks every year. You can go anytime, anywhere. The only limit is the amount of time that you can get off work. Easier done if you can work from home in or you're already retired. And even better than that, the €130 does include some kind of insurances on your exchange. So we've been to absolutely loads of places on home exchanges, places that we would never normally stay because we're too frugal. We've been to the Lake District, we've been to Whitstable, we've been to downtown Vancouver for absolutely free. That was with the Guardian Home Exchange. The Loire Valley, Strasbourg, Barcelona, Orvigno in the mountains of Italy, and many, many more. Amazing places which would have cost thousands of dollars or euros or pounds to rent. Last year, 2 years ago, COVID. done it again. We went to this stunning house in the Loire Valley where there was a trampoline for our daughter. There was a gorgeous vegetable garden bursting with beautiful, well-grown crops. Surrounded by vineyards, we would cycle through the local roads, stopping at the baguette shop, you don't call it a baguette shop, stopping at the boulangerie to pick up a baguette to have with some beautiful local wine and some French brie. So we were there for 2 weeks and the entire trip cost less than £600, and that includes travel, accommodation and the home exchange fee. We also used our home exchange membership to spend the new year in Chester. We were there for 4 nights, and so that diluted the cost of accommodation to less than £7.50 per night. Now the massive pro is you can be a local. Just like Airbnb say, live like a local. Well, when you do home exchange, you are a local. Often home exchange hosts will give you the best local knowledge. Now that time we were in the Loire Valley, we ended up tasting wine at this Belgian chap's house. He was basically a wine producer, and he kind of asked us, so how did you get my number? Because I don't usually do wine tastings for individuals like this. And we said, we were on a home exchange, we found your number in a book of recommended vineyards. And he's like, okay, yeah, so normally my customers are Michelin star restaurants, and I usually only provide in bulk to them. It turns out that he was a small producer of some of the best wines in the world. But he was generous and he was kind, and we got to taste and buy some amazing wine. My daughter did get locked in his toilet, but that's a story for another day. Another pro is the personal touch. If you've ever been to an Airbnb or a hotel and you felt just like a coldness, an unwelcoming feeling, maybe you arrived and the place was still dirty and they were saying, we're just about to clean it now. Well, that doesn't happen with a home exchange. I mean, well, it could, I suppose, in theory, but it hasn't happened to us. So it's so wonderful when you go to somebody else's home and they've left you some homemade goods, some wine, some baked cakes, some jam, whatever it is that they've made or they bought that is local, that they know that it just will really make you feel at home. That's the kind of thing that you get when you go on home exchanges. Not everywhere, of course, but it can happen. Knowing that other people who are also on the website are offering their home gives you so much peace of mind when you have people to stay in your home. Okay, so what are some of the cons of home exchanging? Well, the first big one is you have to clean your house. I mean, you could always get a cleaner. We usually clean our house ourselves because we know we want it to be absolutely perfect for the people that come in to stay, and it does actually take quite a while, and it is a bit of a stress before you're leaving and you're trying to keep the kids out of the room. You say, you can't go in that room, can't go in that room, the place is cleaned. Can be a bit stressful. Another con that people say is that you have people in your home who you've only met online, and it can be a con, but for me, it's a positive. I know some people who feel much happier knowing that somebody is looking after their house when they're on holiday. Okay, and the biggest con is this one. It does actually take quite a lot of effort to try and find somebody to come and stay at your house. Now, if you've seen the film The Holiday, we've got Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet saying, I want to go on a home exchange. Oh, I found somebody online right now. Shall we move tomorrow? Okay. That doesn't usually happen. Now, the kind of people that often do home exchanges, particularly with the Guardian Home Exchange website, they are planning their holidays months and months in advance. So if you're a last minute person, you might find it difficult to find somewhere to go. You also have to find somebody that wants to come to your house. What happens with the homeexchange.com website is that you use a currency called guest points. And if you have some people to stay at your house, then you get guest points. You can then spend those guest points when you go to stay somewhere else. So you don't have to do reciprocal where you go to their house and they come to your house, although you can do. Sometimes we've had maybe somebody from Italy into our house and then we've gone to Germany and that kind of thing, and it works really well with a points system. Sending messages out to people saying, do you want to come in and stay in Cardiff? It's a beautiful city, very close to London, beautiful scenery. You really have to big up your own place. You often have to send a lot of messages before you find somebody to come and stay. If you need to go to a specific place on a specific date, then it can be quite difficult. But if you're flexible with where you go and when you go, then you can pretty much guarantee that you'll find somewhere to go. What are some of the objections that people have to home exchanging? I only rent my place. Can I still exchange? So this is probably the biggest issue. The short answer is yes, you can. The long answer is it might be a bit more tricky. We have exchanged with people who are renting their property, so they had a landlord who knew that we were coming, and the landlord was actually quite glad that we were there. He could know that somebody's looking after the place. It really is about getting your landlord on board with the whole idea. Let's be realistic. If you just ask your landlord, hey landlord, Can strangers come and stay in my house sometime when I'm not there? You might not get a favourable answer. But if you can educate the landlord and help them to understand why it's of benefit to the landlord, then you might be onto something. Speaking as a landlord, I know that landlords want a few things. They want to know that their property is going to be safe, and they want to know that their tenants are going to be staying for as long as possible. So start with letting the landlord know that you've done your research. Try and explain to the landlord what it is that you're planning to do, and try and explain the benefits to them. So explain that it's going to mean that these people who have been checked and verified by Home Exchange, they're coming to look after the place, whilst the place would otherwise be empty. Explain how beneficial it can be to the landlord to have someone who's been vetted and checked and make sure that their identity is verified to come and look after the place whilst you're gone. Some landlords will be happy to let you swap, but if they're not happy at that first explanation, don't give up. Maybe casually explain that you might be looking for a place that would be more open to the possibility of doing a home exchange in the future, and that you might not be guaranteed to sign your next lease, and it might make them think otherwise, especially if you're a good tenant and you've been paying on time. So what about some of the other objections? What if someone destroys my place? What if someone steals my stuff? I don't want anyone else in my home. Okay, well maybe home exchange isn't for you, and you may have to just pay for accommodation when you go on holiday. On homeexchange.com, it is possible to only exchange with verified members. Now what that means is that Home Exchange has checked the person signing up as proof of residence and identity. They check the identity document, a proof of residence no older than 6 months. Protections for the host. It says, as a host, you'll find your home in the state in which you left it, but in case something happens, you can be at ease knowing that Home Exchange will help you with a deposit of £500, which can be used to pay for minor damages by a guest. Home Exchange will be responsible for damages up to €1 million. Home Exchange will cover you in case of theft in accordance with our terms of use. What we usually do is we usually take away our financial stuff, my voiceover equipment, we take that with us, or we leave it with a trusted neighbour, and then basically we just don't really have a lot of stuff that's worth stealing or wrecking. Don't forget, it's not called Home Exchange for nothing. It really does feel like you're at home, away from home. So where are you going next on holiday? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to actually like it. And I'd really love it if you subscribed. It brings so much joy to me when I see the little subscriber count go up. And plus you get to see all the great content that I'm putting out. If you want to go on more holidays, if you want to create a lifestyle that allows for more flexibility, check out this video right here. Stopping off at the local boulangerie where we could pick up a baguette